Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's all about reviewing the 4ocean bracelets. Hey guys, so you've probably have seen the ads for 4ocean and wondered, is the 4ocean bracelets, is that like a real thing of pulling a whole pound just by simply buying a bracelet? And the short answer is obviously yes. Now, there are some YouTubers out there that, there's always a lot of haters, right, on the internet. And everything is like, well, what the hell is this about?
You know what I'm saying? Like, real hating, man, that's like an art form, man. You know, it's like you like a born a hater.
And at the end of the day, a lot of those YouTubers are, they make clickbait and they're out for their own monetization of their channels, right? And that's pretty much what they're doing. So they'll target like anyone that has popularity, and of course try to kind of coattail off of whatever's happening there and then criticize it for their own gain. And that's pretty much what has happened with a lot of these companies that, they do good, but because they make money, they're branded as like, well, they're lying, what the hell, they're not, and we'll get back to that in just a minute. So let me just talk about what 4ocean is. And by the way, this is not an ad for 4ocean or anything like that. Their credibility is extremely high. And I'm not just saying that because of the Better Business Bureau. You can't make up, those photographs of them actually, working and pulling trash from the ocean. That's all real. That's not pretend. Even if it's like volunteer basis, if they go to different countries and they hold events, volunteer, they're still actually physically doing the work of getting trash out of the ocean. And that's no easy feat, right? That it takes manpower, it takes organizational skills. There's a lot involved in being able to put a volunteer event like that, and then hoping the volunteers will show up. So they have to be applauded for even their volunteer efforts. So the company was founded back in 2017 by these two surfer guys, right? Andrew Cooper and Alex Scholes. Regardless of who they are or what type of salaries they're getting from creating this company, the end of the day, they're doing something good, right? And this also fits a good business model for what companies in the future should be following. And I think one of the things that are, kind of being overlooked about this company is their upcycling. So they're upcycling, they're taking all of this plastic and converting it back to plastics that could be used back in. So eliminating the idea of virgin plastic, which is, of course, that's the big problem, is creating new plastic when there's so much of it out there. And I think this is where the big future of that company is them being able to convert all of that old plastic into things like chairs, into things, they even have it on their website, right? It could furnish things in schools. There's limitless possibilities on what they could do with that plastic, and they have an entire arsenal, and it's pretty much virtually free. I mean, the only thing that's costing them is cheap labor. They're hiring full-time employees, right, in Haiti and Indonesia, and they're not getting paid $10 an hour, but regardless, they have a job and it's full-time, and they're constantly pulling more and more plastic, and they need to figure out what are they going to do with the plastic, right? Now, some of you might think, oh, well, they're using the plastic, right? They're using the plastic and they're making these bracelets. The bracelets are symbolic, and I think that's pretty much what their intention was. It's symbolic. And by the way, I think it could be, a great gift idea for somebody, right? Is, you give them a bracelet and it symbolizes that they pulled some trash out of the ocean. That's really what it's supposed to be. So this idea of upcycling, that's really where they're going to make a lot of money, and that's really where they're going to impact the most, right? So good for them. And this business model that 4ocean has created has kind of spawned new companies. There's one called Clean Sea, right? There's this company called Clean Sea that pretty much looks almost identical to 4ocean, that, from New Zealand, I believe. And they're pulling 2 pounds, by the way, for $17. As you can see on the website here, you convert the currency into dollars, and it's $17, and you're actually pulling 1 kilo, which is about 2 pounds, right? So boom, they just got you beat, 4ocean. And of course, they're not as big yet. I watch them because they will probably get a lot bigger, eventually too, just like 4ocean did. And then there's Planet Love Life, which they're focusing on fish nets, right? Which is of course a big issue too, like fish nets and them pulling something and then they're repurposing. So once again, the things that they sell, the bracelets, are symbolic of something else. And then of course there's Isla Vida, which they claim that they're planting a tree every time that you make a purchase, or that certain things that you buy from them will be, a portion of it will be donated to charity. And I think this is gonna be like the model, right, for a lot of companies that they want to appear green, and they do, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're giving back to the overall purpose. And if they're making money, good for them, right? Because it means that they're going to keep operating, they're going to create new jobs, and they're actually doing something good for the earth. All right, so now I'm going to kind of shift gears and talk about the urgency of needing to clean these oceans. So there's something called the Great Garbage Patch, which is this gigantic mass of trash that has collected between the west coast of the United States and expands pretty much all the way to Japan. Now, nobody knows the exact size of the Great Garbage Patch, and there's a lot of controversy about what the size is. Some reports claim that it's twice the size of Texas, that is intense. I live in Texas, and in order to drive out of Texas, it takes like nearly an entire day. So if you imagine twice the size of Texas, that's a lot of crap that's just floating out there. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions about it. It's not just all one gigantic mass that's put together. It's spread out, and it expands and contracts and so on and so forth. And every single plastic that was initially created, right, is still out there, if it ended up out there to begin with. So this Great Garbage Patch creates microplastics, which it's the plastic completely dissolves, it breaks apart, but then there's microplastic, it's still there. And a lot of sea animals end up eating it, thinking it's like plankton, thinking it's different foods, and then their stomachs get completely filled up. And it's imperative that somebody is doing something, because it's a growing problem. And it's not just one garbage patch, we're talking about multiple garbage patches. This is just the largest one in the earth, right? So there's multiple garbage patches around the world, and they continue to grow. Every time that you decide to go to, like a beach or something, it's always, you see nothing but clean oceans, but that's not always the case for different oceans that you go to. Popular tourist spots are obviously popular because there's no trash around them, but that doesn't mean that neighboring islands aren't surrounded, or that third world countries that have beachfront, right, are completely covered in plastics, as that is the case too. So typically tourism, doesn't show and doesn't promote areas that are like, filled with trash. You're only going to like the fancy places that, that are well maintained. And this is why most people don't think that it's a real issue, when of course it really is. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. And until next time, remember to ask that question: is this good for the earth?